The Vanguard system just finished running the entire 2025 Bowman Baseball checklist of prospects with first autos. Stick around to find which prospects put up big numbers in 2025 and are primed to make big gains in the anticipated 2026 season. Hey everyone, Jay here from Drip Zone, and today we are highlighting which prospects from the 2025 Bowman Baseball set have graduated to the majors, and I'll be breaking down the Vanguard top 15 prospects remaining in the checklist that are worth your attention in 2026. The Vanguard system highlights true player performance and cuts through all the hype and expectations to show which prospects with first Bowman rookie cards are showing signs of hobby value potential. This system boils down complex advanced player stats, and with the Vanguard algorithm, the players are ranked with one single number, the player's Vanguard score. We've got tiers that make it easy to spot the big winners: Superfractor, Red, Orange, and Gold, each representing a different level of player performance. Today we're focusing on the prospects that are currently putting up impressive numbers and worth your attention in this checklist. For an in-depth explanation of why I created Vanguard and how it works, check out the video linked in the description. So let's get into it. And before I do, please remember that these evaluations are my own opinions. Always do your own research, and I'd love to hear from you in the comments on what you agree with and what you disagree with. To kick off this video, here's a quick look at prospects from this set who have already reached the majors. Cody Freeman was called up by the Texas Rangers, while Hostinson Garcia, originally a Red Sox prospect, was called up and recently traded to the Pirates to strengthen their outfield. Sung-Chi Cheng has also made it with the Pirates. 3 pitchers joined them: Chase Burns with the Reds, Fuentes with the Braves, and Jonathon with the Mets. Across these 6 players, the average Vanguard score is 3.49, placing the group in the gold promising prospect tier. This reinforces the Vanguard model's reliability, showing that prospects in the gold promising tier are strong candidates for near-term call-ups, especially if they're already performing in AA or AAA. Players in the orange, red, or superfractor tiers not only have an even higher likelihood of promotion, but also the potential to make an immediate impact in their rookie seasons. Speaking of top-tier talent, let's dive into the full prospect analysis on our top 15 list. Kevin McGonigle has rapidly emerged as one of the crown jewel prospects in the Tigers system and one of the most advanced young hitters in the minors. Drafted in the first round out of Pennsylvania, he's consistently been praised for an elite hit tool, mature approach, and the kind of offensive polish you rarely see at his age. After moving quickly through High A and AA, in 2025, he's shown he can hit for average, get on base, and drive the ball without relying on ideal environments or inflated numbers. Evaluators now see him as a bat-first middle infielder with an unusually high offensive floor, and his rise up the prospect rankings reflects that this is no longer just projection, it's real production. When you layer the analytics on top of that scouting profile, the case gets even stronger. McGonigle posts a Vanguard score of 4.56, placing him firmly in the red elite prospect tier, and the reason is efficiency across the board. His 162 WRC plus means he's creating runs 62% better than league average, while striking out just 11.6% of the time, nearly half the league norm. He pairs that with a near 15% walk rate, producing an elite 1.28 walk to strikeout ratio. Add in a 296 isolated power, strong home run to fly ball efficiency, above average slugging, and the fact he's doing this at just 20 years old with middle infield positional value, and you're looking at a profile built on repeatable skills. That blend of age, discipline, power efficiency, and positional value is exactly what the Vanguard model rewards, and why McGonigle projects as a legitimate future impact bat at the major league level. I think he'll start the season at AAA and see a call-up at some point during the 2026 season, but it might be hard for Detroit to hold back if he tears it up in the spring. Since last summer, I've been pumping Richard Matic as a sleeper you should keep an eye on. Yes, the data is DSL oriented right now, but he's been flat out destroying that level, which is always a good sign. It will be interesting to see where New York places him to start the 2026 season. He's only 17, so my guess is a promotion to low A. In my opinion, Richard Matic is one of the youngest high-upside hitters in the Yankees system and a prospect who stands out because of just how advanced his offensive profile already looks. Signed internationally and spending the season in the DSL, Matic showed that even within his age group, his approach and production were clearly separated from the field. He's a physical left-handed hitter with strong hands, natural loft, and a mature understanding of the strike zone that immediately jumps off the page. At just 17 years old, he wasn't simply putting up numbers. He was consistently controlling at-bats, driving the ball with authority, and establishing himself as one of the most productive bats in the DSL. That level of performance at such a young age is exactly what puts him on the radar as a potential impact prospect at higher levels. When you bring the analytics into the picture, the upside becomes much easier to quantify. Matic earns a Vanguard score of 4.45, placing him firmly in the red elite prospect tier, and age-adjusted dominance as the key driver. His 167 WRC Plus shows he created runs at a rate 67% better than league average, paired with an outstanding 336 batting average and a 566 slugging percentage. The plate discipline is especially eye-catching. A massive 20.9% walk rate and a 0.93 walk-to-strikeout ratio reflect advanced zone awareness that's rare for teenage hitters, even at this level. While the strikeout rate sits near league average, the combination of patience, power efficiency, and quality contact, highlighted by a 231 isolated power and strong home run to fly ball rate, pushes his profile well beyond typical DSL production. Add in positional value and extreme youth, and the Vanguard model rewards him as a prospect whose performance already supports his projection, not one relying solely on tools and speculation. The next prospect on this Vanguard list is someone who has actually scored an elusive superfractor score on the Vanguard scale while in AA, and is no stranger in the hobby. JJ Wetherholt has quickly established himself as the premier hitting prospect in the Cardinals system and one of the most advanced position player bats in all of the minors. Picked 7th overall in the 2024 draft out of West Virginia, Wetherholt came into pro ball with one of the cleanest hit tools in the class and has only confirmed that reputation with performance at every level. In 2025, he slashed consistently through AA and into AAA Memphis, combining average, contact, plus patience, and emerging power, earning Futures Game honors and being named a Minor League Player of the Year candidate. Scouts have long praised his ability to make contact, routinely find barrels, and use the whole field, and that all shows up in his polished offensive profile. Wetherholt isn't just a safe bet to reach the big leagues. He's a bat who could impact the Cardinals lineup early in his career thanks to his balance of skills and production. When you bring the numbers in, the reason he grades so highly analytically becomes clear. Wetherholt posts a Vanguard score of 4.19, placing him in the orange impact prospect tier, meaning he's not just productive, he's consistently above average in critical areas. His 156 WRC Plus shows he's creating runs at a rate 56% higher than the league average, and that's backed by both quality contact and developing power, reflected in an impressive 249 ISO and a 562 slugging percentage. Plate discipline is a strength too, with a nice walk rate of 12.7% and a strikeout rate of just 14.9%, well below league norms, highlighted by a 0.85 walk-to-strikeout ratio that signals controlled aggression. Couple that with a 314 average and a strong age-for-level performance, and you have a profile that grades as impactful because it doesn't rely on just one tool. It blends contact, discipline, and power in a way that translates as a real run producer. At 22 years old and already nearing MLB readiness, Wetherholt's combination of polished bat skills and advancing power makes him one of the Cardinals' best bets to be an everyday contributor when he reaches St. Louis. I've read some local articles about Wetherholt, and I believe he has a legitimate shot of making the opening day roster, likely at second or third base. And as a quick side note on the Cardinals system, I just want to take a moment to give a quick shout out to the Vanguard model for predicting the Cardinals outfielder Nathan Church call-up just 1 week before he actually got the call. If you want to see my analysis on Nathan Church, who was in the 2025 Bowman Chrome Sets checklist, you can find the link to that video in the description. Thomas White is a 20-year-old left-handed pitcher in the Miami Marlins system, and he's quickly emerging as one of the most overpowering arms in the minors, climbing all the way from low A through AAA in a single season. From the moment he steps on the mound, it's clear that this is not a pitch-to-contact profile. White attacks hitters with premium velocity, sharp breaking stuff, and a presence that forces uncomfortable at-bats. Even among elite pitching prospects, his raw dominance stands out. What makes White especially compelling is how extreme the swing and miss has been at such a young age. He's striking out 38.6% of hitters, which translate to a massive 14.55 strikeouts per 9 innings. That kind of bat-missing ability instantly changes how lineups have to approach him. And despite his aggressive style, he's been extremely difficult to do damage against, allowing just 0.2 home runs per 9 innings. Simply put, hitters aren't squaring him up. From a metrics standpoint, White earns a Vanguard score of 4.2, placing him in the orange impact tier. A major driver of that score is the gap between strikeouts and walks, which sits at an elite 25%, a strong indicator of dominance even with developing control. He allows very few base runners, reflected in a 1.18 whip, and his 2.27 FIP shows that his ability to miss bats and limit damage isn't luck, it's repeatable. His ERA minus of 59 means he's been 41% better than league average at preventing runs. If the walk rate continues to trend in the right direction, Thomas White projects as a front of the rotation starter and at worst a truly overwhelming late inning force. For a 20-year-old lefty, this is rare air. Eduardo Quintero has become one of the most exciting offensive young players in the Dodgers system and a genuine toolsy outfield prospect to watch. Signed as an international free agent out of Venezuela, Quintero started his pro path as a catcher before the Dodgers shifted him to center field, where his speed, athleticism, and defensive tools can play up. In 2025, he absolutely broke out in Class A, earning California League MVP honors and an organizational Minor League Player of the Year award thanks to the elite offensive production, blending contact, patience, power, and speed at just 19 years old. Scouts and prospect analysts have taken notice, and multiple outlets have him ranked among the Dodgers' top young bats heading into future seasons. From an analytics perspective, Quintero earns a Vanguard score of 3.73, gold, promising prospect, which reflects a strong mix of skills and performance, even if it doesn't yet reach the elite tier. His 135 WRC plus shows he's creating runs well above league average, and his 181 ISO with a 440 slugging percentage demonstrates real power growth for a teenager. Plate discipline is a bright spot as well. A 15.8% walk rate signals he's not just swinging hard, and while his 24% strikeout rate is slightly above league norm, the walks and contact skills balance it out. That disciplined approach helped fuel his average and on-base performance of 259, 384, and 440 with high A Great Lakes after a strong low A MVP run. Add in his plus speed and growing power and you get a profile that combines tools with production at a young age, enough to project him as a future impact contributor even if there's more refinement to come. If you're becoming a fan of Vanguard, check out my other videos linked in the description. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss future videos. And comment below if you have any questions about Vanguard, how it works, or if you want expanded player analysis. I'm always ready to answer any questions you may have. Our next prospect is the second of the two pitchers Vanguard flagged to be worthy of our top 15 list. Jacob Bresnahan is a power left-handed pitcher in the San Francisco Giants system who is quickly establishing himself as one of the more dominant young arms in the lower minors. At just 20 years old, Bresnahan is already missing bats at an elite level, pairing premium strikeout rates with run suppression that stands out even among top pitching prospects. This isn't a finesse profile, it's a pitcher who is overwhelming hitters with raw stuff and confidence. What makes Bresnahan especially exciting in the hobby is how consistently overpowering he's been. He's striking out 32.5% of hitters, translating to an eye-opening 12 strikeouts per 9, while allowing almost no damaging contact, just 0.19 home runs per 9 innings. That ability to miss bats and keep the ball in the park is reflected in his 56 ERA-, meaning he's been 44% better than league average at preventing runs. While the 4.16 walks per 9 show there's still some polish needed, the dominance is undeniable, and it's exactly the type of profile the Giants have historically trusted their development system to refine. From a metric standpoint, Bresnahan earns a Vanguard score of 3.70, placing him firmly in the gold, promising prospect tier. What really separates him is the gap between strikeouts and walks, which sits at an impressive 21.3%. He allows very few base runners, reflected in a 1.18 whip, showing just how hard it is for hitters to reach base, even when he issues a walk. Even looking at deeper numbers like his 3.0 FIP, it's clear he's limiting runs and missing bats in a way that isn't just luck. The underlying stats bring up his dominance. If his control continues to improve, Bresnahan projects as a high-impact starter, or at minimum a potentially devastating late-inning weapon. For a 20-year-old lefty, this is exactly the kind of foundation teams hope to build their rotations around. Hayden Alvarez is a name that may not jump out yet on national prospect lists, but within the Angels system, he's quietly building a strong foundation as a pure hitter. An 18-year-old position player early in his professional development, Alvarez stands out for his feel for the barrel, strike zone awareness, and ability to consistently put the ball in play. Rather than leaning on raw power, his offensive value comes from sequencing at-bats, controlling counts, and spraying hard contact to all fields. For a player this young, that type of offensive maturity is notable, especially in an environment where many peers are still learning basic pitch recognition. Alvarez's profile is about stability and skill development rather than loud tools, but those traits often age extremely well. From an analytics standpoint, that profile shows up clearly in his Vanguard score of 3.59, placing him in the gold, promising prospect tier, while playing in the complex league and a short stint in low A. His 137 WRC Plus indicates run creation well above league average, driven primarily by elite contact quality and on-base ability. He pairs a 340 batting average with a strong 13.8% walk rate while keeping his strikeout rate down at just 16.5%, well below league norms, resulting in a healthy 0.84 walk-to-strikeout ratio. Like most teenagers, power is currently the weakest part of the profile, reflected in a low 0.09 isolated power and minimal home run efficiency. But that's where age and development matter. At just 18 years old, the Vanguard model still rewards Alvarez because bat control, plate discipline, and average production are far more stable indicators than early power. If strength and lift come later, the offensive floor already exists, and that's why he grades as a promising prospect with a path to much more. Right now, his Bowman First Auto cards are dirt cheap, so if this sounds like a player you'd like to add to your collection, do some more research and let me know in the comments what you think. Sean Keyes is an intriguing power bat prospect in the Blue Jays system, whose value comes from strength, patience, and the ability to damage the baseball when he connects. A college-developed hitter, now in his early 20s, Keyes doesn't fit the teenage breakout mold, but his offensive profile is built for modern run production. He's a physical bat with corner infield and outfield flexibility, and his game is centered around working counts, lifting the ball, and doing damage to his pull side. While the batting average has fluctuated, evaluators now view Keyes as a hitter whose underlying approach gives him a chance to impact a lineup in the right role, and on the Blue Jays roster, that flexibility is going to be a big factor with respect to what future opening might present itself. That profile shows up clearly in the analytics. Keyes posts a Vanguard score of 4.56, placing him in the gold, promising prospect tier, and the model is rewarding efficiency rather than surface stats. His 119 WRC Plus indicates above-average run creation despite a lower 217 batting average, and that's driven by patience and power. A 16.3% walk rate, double the league average, reflects strong zone control, while a 191 isolated power and solid home run efficiency show that his contact does real damage. His strikeout rate sits right around league average, but the walk-to-strikeout ratio remains well above baseline, which stabilizes his offensive value. Add in positional flexibility and age-appropriate production, and the Vanguard model sees a hitter whose approach and power are showing up in games. Keyes may not be a classic high-average bat, but his ability to generate runs through walks as well as power is exactly why he grades as a promising offensive contributor at the next level. I think that Keyes should progress through AA in 2026 if he has a strong spring and is a prospect worth keeping an eye on. I'll be watching some minor league games in part to watch him play hopefully in AA for the New Hampshire Fisher Cats. Charlie Condon is one of the most polarizing power bats in professional baseball and a prospect whose profile is built around loud tools rather than subtlety. Drafted out of Georgia after one of the most dominant offensive seasons in college baseball history, breaking the home run record with 37. Condon entered the Rockies system known for elite raw power, aggressive intent, and a game-changing exit velocities as great as 106.4 miles per hour. He's a corner bat whose value is driven almost entirely by his ability to impact the baseball, and when he connects, the damage is real. However, that approach also comes with swing and miss, and evaluators have consistently viewed him as a high-variance hitter, the kind who can change a game with one swing, but whose outcomes will fluctuate. That exact profile is reflected in the analytics. Condon posts a Vanguard score of 4.55, placing him in the gold, promising prospect tier, and the model is clearly rewarding power while flagging risk. His 132 WRC Plus shows above average run creation, driven by a strong 230 isolated power and a 465 slugging percentage, and excellent home run to fly ball efficiency. But the volatility shows up in the contact profile, a 28.3% strikeout rate, well above league average, and a walk to strikeout ratio that sits below baseline. His batting average lags, and his positional value is slightly reduced due to a corner-only defensive profile. Still, the Vanguard model values his ability to generate runs through power and selective aggression, especially at age 22. This is a bat that carries real upside in the right environment, particularly in Colorado, but one that will always live closer to the edge than the more disciplined hit-first prospects. Charlie Condon is definitely up there as one of my favorite prospects right now. I'm a sucker for power bats, and when you watch him, you know that a big play could happen. Jonathon Long is quietly a productive hitter in the Cubs system whose profile is built more on reliability than flash. A right-handed corner bat developed through the college ranks, Long doesn't overwhelm you with one elite tool, but he consistently puts together quality at-bats and produces at every stop. The Cubs organization clearly value Long, naming him the 2025 Minor League Player of the Year. His offensive game is rooted in feel for the barrel, a willingness to use the whole field, and a disciplined approach that allows him to hit for average while still tapping into enough power to matter. At 23 years old, he's closer to being a finished product than a projection play, and evaluators tend to view him as a potential everyday contributor or strong depth bat depending on how the power ultimately plays. With Kyle Tucker poised to sign with another team in free agency, the Cubs will be looking to add some offensive production to their lineup. It will be interesting to see how they achieve that, and Long might be one of the pieces considered in 2026. The analytics reinforce Long's steady profile, posting a Vanguard score of 3.53, placing him in the gold, promising prospect tier, and the model is rewarding balance more than extremes. His 131 WRC Plus shows comfortably above average run creation, driven by a strong 305 batting average, a very solid 479 slugging percentage, and power that's above league norms. Plate discipline is a strength. A 13% walk rate paired with a 19.1% strikeout rate keeps his offensive floor high and results in a healthy walk to strikeout ratio. While his raw power and positional value are more modest than some corner profiles, the combination of average, on-base ability, and controlled power gives him a very playable offensive skill set. The Vanguard model views Long as a hitter who may not headline prospect lists, but one whose consistency and approach give him a real path to contributing at the major league level. Personally, I see Long as an underrated prospect who will surprise many when he gets the chance in the majors. Khadim Diaw is a quietly impressive hitter in the Twins system whose value comes from control, consistency, and a strong all-around offensive foundation. At 21 years old, Diaw doesn't jump out with loud power tools, but he consistently shows advanced bat-to-ball, a patient approach, and the ability to impact games without needing home runs. He's a solid defender with positional versatility, and offensively his game is built on staying within himself, working counts, and putting quality contact into play. That type of profile often flies under the radar, but it's also the kind that can move quickly when paired with steady production. The analytics support that view. Diaw earns a Vanguard score of 3.51, placing him in the gold, promising prospect tier, and the model is rewarding efficiency and reliability. His 155 WRC Plus shows well above average run creation, driven by a 294 batting average, strong on-base ability, and a disciplined strikeout profile. He keeps his strikeouts in check at 17.2%, pairs that with a 12.1% walk rate, and produces a respectable .420 slugging percentage despite below-average home run efficiency. Power is currently modest, reflected in a .126 isolated power and lower home run efficiency, but that's where the age and context matter. With above-average positional value and a skill set built on contact and plate discipline, the Vanguard model views Diaw as a hitter with a high offensive floor and room to grow if strength and power continue to develop. The next prospect is arguably the poster boy for the 2025 Bowman Baseball set. Jesus Matic is one of the more intriguing young infield prospects in the Milwaukee Brewers system, largely because of how advanced his offensive approach already looks for his age. At just 18 years old, he has progressed all the way from Class A through AA in a single season, a rare feat that speaks volumes about his maturity, approach, and ability to handle professional pitching. Matic isn't relying on raw power to drive value. Instead, he excels with contact quality, plate discipline, and a strike zone awareness well beyond his years. And as he grows into more power as he matures, the sky's the limit for Matic. From a modeling standpoint, Matic earns a Vanguard score of 3.46, placing him in the gold promising prospect tier. His 128 WRC Plus reflects strong offensive contribution, supported by a .285 batting average and a .413 slugging percentage that's very solid for an 18-year-old. He keeps strikeouts under control at 20.6%, pairs that with an excellent 12.8% walk rate, and posts a strong walk-to-strikeout ratio for a teenager. While his ISO and home run to fly ball rates remain below league average, the Vanguard model treats this as developmental power rather than a concern. Add in above average positional value at shortstop, and Matic projects as a high floor prospect whose upside is tied to natural strength gains rather than swing overhauls. This is a high value prospect in the hobby, and his cards don't last long in eBay stores. At Drip Zone Collectibles, we are sold out. Aroon Escobar is a young, well-rounded hitter in the Phillies system whose profile blends contact, patience, and emerging power, and his 2025 season tells a compelling story. At just 20 years old, he's already climbed from Class A all the way through AA, showcasing both consistency and adaptability against increasingly advanced pitching. Escobar started the year with the Clearwater Threshers hitting over .285 with 11 homers and 10 steals, earning Minor League Player of the Month honors before moving up the ladder. Analytically, Escobar earns a Vanguard score of 4.31, placing him in the gold promising prospect tier. His 121 WRC Plus reflects above average run creation, supported by a .270 batting average and a .413 slugging percentage. He keeps strikeouts under control at 18.2%, pairs that with a 10.4% walk rate, and maintains a healthy walk-to-strikeout ratio. While his isolated power, 143, is still developing, his ability to get on base and make consistent contact makes him a reliable offensive floor. Combined with his age, rapid climb through the minors, and positional versatility, Escobar projects as a prospect with both current value and future upside. Franklin Arias has quickly become one of the more interesting young bats in the Red Sox organization, especially because of how advanced he looks at his age. A 19-year-old corner infielder, outfielder type, Arias is listed as the Red Sox #1 prospect, showing a mature approach at the plate, an ability to control the zone, and hard contact that stands out against his competition. He's progressed from low A into AA already, showing an understanding of strike zone coverage and the ability to make consistent contact, traits that project well even when he faces more advanced pitchers down the road. Analytically, Arias earns a Vanguard score of 3.37, which places him in the gold promising prospect tier. That goal reflects a profile built on controlled aggression and contact rather than elite power. His 109 WRC Plus shows he's creating runs just above league average, and what stands out most is his strikeout rate at a very low 10.1%. He rarely gives away at-bats, while his .278 batting average and .388 slugging percentage show above average production for his age. His isolated power sits at 111, surprisingly modest, but adequate when paired with strong contact and a quality approach. And his walk rate, while slightly below league norm at 7.2%, still contributes to his overall offensive value. With above-average positional value at shortstop and advanced contact skills already in place, Arias profiles as a high-floor bat whose future is tied to growing into more power as he matures. PJ Morlando is an intriguing young hitter in the Miami Marlins system whose profile is built more on patience and projection than present-day production. At just 20 years old, Morlando has already shown a willingness to grind through at-bats, work deep counts, and let his offensive value come from on-base skills rather than raw contact volume. He's not a finished product yet, but the underlying approach gives him a developmental runway that makes him worth tracking as he continues to mature physically and mechanically. From an analytical perspective, Morlando earns a Vanguard score of 3.31, placing him in the gold, promising prospect tier. His 111 WRC plus shows he's already contributing above league average offensively, despite a 226 batting average and a 353 slugging percentage. That production is driven by an excellent 15.5% walk rate, nearly double the league average, which helps offset a higher 26.6% strikeout rate. His isolated power sits at 126, below league average, but a 16.7% home run to fly ball rate suggests there's real power when he does connect. While the profile comes with volatility, the combination of patience, age, and power indicators keep Morlando's upside very much in play. Personally, I like what I've seen so far with Vanguard data and feel that Morlando will continue to be either stable or trend upwards as he matures. There's one more player that just missed the top 15, but is definitely worth talking about. Rafael Flores is a late-blooming offensive catcher in the Pittsburgh Pirates system who has quietly put together one of the more productive seasons among upper minors hitters. At 24 years old, Flores isn't a teenage projection prospect, he's a player forcing his way into conversation through performance. He combines solid contact skills with real power, and while his strikeouts are part of the profile, his overall offensive impact has been hard to ignore. Flores' path makes him especially interesting. Originally developed in the Yankees system, he was acquired by Pittsburgh in a low-profile trade, the type of move that the Pirates often make when targeting overlooked offensive upside. Since arriving, Flores has continued to hit, and that matters given Pittsburgh's current situation behind the plate. With Henry Davis struggling to establish himself offensively and Andy Rodriguez still working back from injury, the door is very much open for Flores. From an analytical standpoint, Flores earns a Vanguard score of 3.31, placing him in the gold, promising prospect tier. His 134 WRC plus highlights well above average run creation, supported by a 280 batting average and a 470 slugging percentage. He shows legitimate power with a 191 ISO and a 16.7% home run to fly ball rate, even though his 25.7% strikeout rate is higher than league average. His walk rate sits near average at 9.7%, and his positional value as a catcher further fuels his overall profile. So there you have it, the top 15 prospects from the 2025 Bowman Baseball set, heading into the 2026 season. My next video will be likely breaking down the 2025 Bowman draft checklist of prospects. Right now, the plate appearances are only around 50 or less for most of those players, and as soon as they get to somewhere around 150 to 200 plate appearances, I'll run all of them through the Vanguard model and let you know the results. Don't forget to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell. It really helps the channel and motivates me to continue making content like this. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.